Welcome to the Do Zone, where entrepreneurs go to get things done. I'm your host, Josh Thomas. You can find me on all social media at JT Literally. Each week, I bring on experts from a variety of backgrounds to share their secrets on how to optimize performance so you can take massive action and crush your goals. Speaking of optimizing performance, we now have trained AI sales and support agents ready to help you close more deals, reduce expenses, and provide five-star customer service. To learn more, go to anabots.ai. That's anabots.ai. Today's guest is Casper Searslud. He is not just a marketer, he's a visionary, thought leader dedicated to transforming in-house marketing and creative collaboration. Casper's journey is a testament to his commitment to sharing knowledge and nurturing creativity, not solely for client acquisition, but for the elevation of the entire industry. Casper, welcome to the Do Zone. Tell us something you believe is the key to getting stuff done that most people wouldn't think of.
Thank you for being here. Well, I will start with a quote from Chuck Close, who says, "Inspiration is for amateurs. The rest of us just show up for work." And I think that's really what it's all about. I mean, for me, a lot of things in the creative business where I come from, they talk about, then they smoke some cigarettes and they wait for the muse to happen or whatever. And for me, it's really about demystifying inspiration and learning how to do creative work in terms of finding your ways of working, your processes, and then get do creative work, but based on a methodology or so. Sorry, that was really off.
No, I think you did great. No, well, and here's the thing, just the inspiration's great, but the rest of us went to work. You just went to work trying to explain it, and that's all it is. We keep iterating and we work it out. And I am that guy. Also, because sometimes the key to getting stuff done is to stop thinking about what needs to get done and just start doing things. And you may not get it done exactly right, but at least you're making progress,
I totally agree. I mean, a lot of times we come across people who think and think and think, but actually doing something that you're not really proud of, but actually getting it out there and learning from it is, in my opinion, much better than sitting back and thinking and doing all your PowerPoints and your strategies and so on. That said, I mean, don't just jump into things. Think a bit and then jump into it.
And that's one of those. It's another thing that I can share with you here about this podcast, for instance. I don't know exactly how many episodes I have, but it's more than 200. I think I have 210 published episodes at this point. And, this thing started as, I don't know, I'll figure it out, and it definitely wasn't perfect. It wasn't ready. I've had a couple of interviews I could probably take back, but you just keep making the next one and the next one and the next one, and you keep improving. And the more you do that, the better you get at it, the more comfortable you get, and the more progress you really make.
Yeah. And you learn. I mean, it's all really. I'm not just saying jump into things and just don't do anything without your head in it. But sometimes have an hypothesis on something and try it out. Maybe in the small, have an idea of what you want to do, and then try it out instead of sitting back and learning something. A couple of years back, I was. And it's embarrassed to say now, but I was head of creative at Maersk, the company that just had a big ship that sailed into a big bridge in Baltimore.
Well, you probably weren't responsible for that.
I'm not in any way responsible of that. It's 10 years ago, and I have nothing to do with that. So, but anyway, I forgot what the story was now. But there was a point at some point in this, but the thing is, we didn't know what to do and how to do it, and sorry, I forgot. I'm off now.
That's okay.
I hope you are editing this.
You're doing great. Don't worry about it. We don't need edits. We need real rawness, man. So, but I do want to ask you a question. One of the things that you really evangelize is bringing your marketing in-house versus outsourcing and going to all these different vendors and different companies. Now, I personally have mixed feelings about it. There are certain points where I agree with that, and there are certain points where I don't. But I'm curious to hear your perspective in how do we take all of that complicated stuff if we're not marketing pros, marketing experts? How do we really bring that in-house, and why is that the better decision for most of us?
Well, first of all, I'm not sure it is the better decision at it in it, all the time, but I think you have to make the decision and you have to do your analysis. Is this good or bad? And a lot of companies are just saying no. We want to go external all the time. We want to bring in, we want to ask the great advertising agencies to do the work all the time. And I think that's wrong. I think you need to look at it. You need to make the analysis. Is this role something that makes sense to have in-house because we use it all the time, and people, they know the business, they know the brand, they know the story, everything. So they don't start from Adam and Eve every time you bring them a brief. They actually know the products. They also know the brand essence itself. But that said, you also get that tunnel vision sometimes when you have internal people. They just do what they did last time. So it's not an either or. I think it's very much a both or a mixed version. The book I wrote or we wrote a couple of years back is called Win House. So it's the mixture of how to bring in outside in perspective, how to have great ideas with people from people who work with a lot of other clients and have their ideas in, but also mix it with people who know what kind of tools, what kind of websites, processes, and so on, know your products. So it's not an either or. It's very much finding the right balance, because I think you can have the creative tunnel vision when you're in house, but you also sometimes ask external agencies and you get a lot of rubbish from that. And they don't really know what's possible. They don't know the brand in its core and so on. So it's very much about finding the balance, and I think that's the purpose of what I'm talking about. It's finding the right mixture of in-house and external. And a lot of times it's from my perspective 60% in-house, 40% external, or 55 in-house, and so on.
Yeah, and that makes a lot of sense. I have a quick anecdote for you. I was going to hire a Facebook ads person to run some ads for this new business I was launching. I'd known the guy for 10 years. I trusted him implicitly. I had my credit card in hand, and I'm like waving it at him and I'm saying, "Hey, here, take my money and run my Facebook ads for me." And he pushed the card back at me and said, "I'd be happy to do that, but you really need to be involved in this up front, because nobody understands the mission and vision and message of your company like you do. If you outsource this to me, it's going to be inferior right now. You need to go through this process in order for somebody like me to be effective." And that was heavy, man. Like, I had like card in
Yeah, yeah,
hand,
yeah.
and he
Just do
pushed
your
it back
thing.
at
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
and he pushed it back at me, and I learned an important lesson there. And I think it goes along the lines, there's always going to be kind of that hybrid. You really do need to take some sort of responsibility for how you are promoting your business and the message that goes out there. You can't just send that out to some other dude.
No, no, and I think that's the essence of what I'm trying to say. It's just been for a lot of years that people are just saying, "Oh, we don't know anything about this marketing stuff, so let's just ask an agency." And then they spend a lot of money and a lot of time, because the companies that I've been involved in, it's very much time. And I hate the word agility, but it's very much the ability to work fast, and when something happens, when Tesla lower their prices, one of our agencies, they run the Hyundai marketing in Scandinavia, and they have to do something very fast. They have to do something the same day, And if you have to call an agency that have to book in creative resources, and they have to sit back and think, and they have to learn the brand story and everything, and they understand everything, it's just slow. So it's very much about the ability to do something fast, because you know the brand, you know what kind of story you want to tell. But that said, you also sometimes it's just hard when you're sitting in the same room as the company, you know, yeah, as your client. I mean, it's difficult to be really that. I'm not sure if you can say drama queen anymore in these days, but if you can be that drama queen and said, no, I can't do this, if you have to go to lunch with them just 10 minutes later. So you need that arm's length sometimes to be the creative agency. So it's that paradox that I'm just talking about. I think a lot of times it makes sense to be close to the business and know what you're talking about, but also you need that push from the outside.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people try to make the world black or white, and the reality is it's always some shade of gray. The right answer is going to be some shade of gray. It may be dark gray, it may be light gray, but it's never going to be exactly one or the other. And what color it is or what shade that you encounter not only depends on who you are, but what situation you're in, and also the timing, because you at this point in your career may need a certain kind of help that next later in your career you need a different kind of help, and it's okay for that to kind of shift in one direction or another. And so just kind of parting thoughts here, what would you say is the best way to find that balance and in determining where I get my resources, where what do I keep inside, what do I go and seek externally?
Well, the first thing is, I think, is actually pretty basic, because it's just realizing that you had the need to look at this. And we do this report every year that's called the in-house barometer, where we talk to a lot of people across Europe and US this time, UK as well. How much do you bring in-house? What kind of roles are you bringing in-house? And I think what we realized from the first year we did it, like 4 or 5 years ago, was that a lot of companies don't even think about this. They are just trusting external agencies to handle their creation of marketing stuff, and then they have their project managers in house. So I think the first step is really realizing that you can't do everything yourself, or you can't really push everything to some external partner. And that, I mean, it's kind of basic, that just talking about the realization of this. The next step would be saying, how much do we need these people? Are these the ones that are gonna produce stuff, that come up with the creative ideas, or the new stuff that's gonna challenge us? Or are these the people that are just doing the everyday work, that are putting things on our website, doing our social media campaigns, doing our paid Facebook campaigns as well? And then it's math, which is kind of boring to say, but it's looking at it and say, do you need these people more than 50% of the time? Then it's probably a yes, and you should hire them in, because otherwise you're paying a lot to have them as external people. Or is it some kind of special skills that you can't bring in, because then you're killing the creativity if you bring these people to a suburb somewhere, and you can't feed them with enough tasks to strive or something like that. And then you need to buy it, and you can't really pay enough, to be honest, for great ideas. It's just, for a lot of times it seems like people are buying the entire house in an agency. So they're buying everything from the great idea all the way down to the production of everything and putting it on social media. And the bottom of the house, in my opinion, is, if I can use that metaphor, is really about, that's the craftsmanship. I mean, you don't have to reinvent the way of doing a banner or doing a social media post or something like that, but the idea itself, or the speciality of producing this kind of idea. That's something you should bring in outside in perspective on.
And so tell us what you're working on now and how people can connect with you.
So right now I'm working on we're building in-house agencies and helping in-house agencies around Scandinavia mostly and UK. It's kind of boring to say, but it's because it's really a lot of times. I mean, I can see you have instruments in the background, and I used to talk about. I've removed the bass. I have a double bass in the background normally, but I
Yeah.
removed it. A lot of times I talk about how I used to play bass in a jazz club in Copenhagen 25 years ago. And we were like the sitting in band. This is a detour, but I'm getting to the point at
That's
one,
good.
in 5 seconds. And we used to be the house band, so to speak. Me and the drummer, and then great musicians would come in and play along with us, jam for one night. It was like a sitting in night every Thursday. And it's not that difficult if you play jazz. There are like 30 or 40 standards you can play, and you know kind of you know them. And if you know them, it's pretty easy. Um, and they would come in and say, play Autumn Leaves in A minor or something like that. And we would just nod to each other and we do that. And he would do all the magic stuff. We were just following. And for me, what we do is very much that we provide the standards. We know how to run the in-house agency as a smooth machine. That's not magic in any way. It's just making things, happen and having it done. All the magic happens in the ideas and how you utilize that team and how you actually run that. So that's very much what we do. We help people setting up the standards. It's a bit of a detour and a weird story, I know, but it's just to get us there.
Yeah.
And then they can bring in external people, or we can help them provide that extra idea on top of it, so they can strive and they can blossom in what they do.
Very good. And where can we go to learn more about that?
You can go to site, which is a CITE.agency, or just my LinkedIn profile, and I can tell you more about it.
Okay. Very good. Casper Searslew, everybody. For those of you who are looking to learn more and you're located in Scandinavia or you're looking to visit sometime, you can go to site.agency. That's CITE.agency. You can also find Casper on LinkedIn. Whether you're on your morning commute in the gym or somewhere out in the field, snap a selfie and tag me at JT Literally. Show me what you do while you're in the do zone. And one more time, if you're looking to boost your sales, cut your costs, and increase customer satisfaction, get yourself an Anabot. Learn more at anabots.ai. That's it. Well, let's get to work.